You could accept the fact that this city is headed for a disaster of biblical proportion.
What do you mean, biblical?
What he means is Old Testament, Mr.
Yes.
Mayor. Real wrath of God type stuff.
Exactly.
Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling.
40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes.
The dead rising from the grave.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
We don't normally get this kind of action.
It's for us. It's just
exciting.
for us. This is the way our screen is.
Oh, dear. It's because you guys are here.
It was a legitimate call. It made sense. It was pass interference. I don't care what anybody says.
Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk from two men in the know. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
You call runs when you're not supposed to, and Dak Prescott is throwing it in the dirt.
What they say, it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome once again to another episode of Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee, and alongside of me is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, Know-It-Alls? Welcome back for another edition of Football on the No Show. It has been a long time.
I feel
it feels
refreshed,
like
though.
It feels like it's been like a month or something.
It's been a few weeks, yes.
It's been a few weeks, but
but
it just feels really long for some reason, and I've been dying to talk football.
You have.
I've been talking your ear off since before we even
Yes,
before we even started
absolutely.
this
You're
thing.
excited.
So,
I thought you were just excited to see me, but I see it was just football.
It was just football. Sorry, Jim.
That's cool. I understand.
But no, I love you
comes
too.
first.
Anyway, but yeah, a lot to talk about. We're going to try to cram a bunch of information in this one episode for you guys out there. If you're new to the show, welcome aboard.
Absolutely.
We'd like to have you here. And if you have any friends, family, relatives, anybody that loves football like we do, make sure you send them our way as well. You can follow us on Facebook and YouTube. If you're going to YouTube, look up Football on the No Show. Hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to get all the latest and greatest updated content. As well as on Facebook, search us up Football on the No Show. As well, become a member, become a know-it-all, and let's spread the love. Let's get everybody in here. Let's talk some football. We are psyched. The offseason is getting extremely, extremely exciting. I mean, a lot of cuts already have happened. There are a couple of trades this week. So there's a lot to cover, a lot to get into, signings and so forth, rumors. Let's do it.
Absolutely. And the big thing that happened finally after months and a whole season, after all this talking about it week to week and day to day, Dak Prescott finally gets the deal done here, Joe. You think he's going to get tagged again possibly here, and then he suffered the injury that he had last year. Wasn't sure what was going to come out of it. His camp was still saying they wanted $45 million a year. They wanted a shorter type of deal.
Yep.
Dallas wanted a little more. And when it came down to it, all said and done, he got what he wanted pretty much. He got
Absolutely.
$40 million a year on average. This first year, he's going to be making $75 million, and 4
Crazy.
years. So then even after 4 years, he can re-up again, either hit the free agency or try and get some more out of these guys. But
right, and that's the craziest thing about this whole deal is they were kind of like teetering on each side. They were trying to figure out something that would work for both sides. Now, Cowboys would have loved to have like a 5-year deal. But Dak was not having that. He would not sign a deal for that. And Dak really ultimately wanted a 3-year deal, a really short-term deal, so then he can be in his prime still and go out and get another huge contract. Well, it looks like both sides kind of like met in the middle. So it's a 4-year deal, $160 million.
Absolutely.
So Dak Prescott, and the Cowboys, you're going to be able to see his pregame warm-up, and he'll be able to throw the hips in for you guys.
Absolutely. There he goes. He's getting down,
week.
Joe. He loves it. Look at him get into it here. So, yeah, let's break it down.
Snap
Let's talk
it,
about
baby.
how
Snap it.
important this contract is here. Let's get to it. See, so he's going to be making $75 million this first year,
This
right?
first year.
And that,
75. Think about that.
Oh, yeah.
Some quarterbacks that have
And
already
it's all
played.
front-loaded here.
That's the craziest thing is some quarterbacks that have already played. Now, I think what comes to mind is Carson Palmer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Carson Palmer, remember he had an interview with the Cincinnati Bengals before he left, and they're like, "Oh, aren't you worried? Are you, how are you financially? You're looking to break the bank, blah, blah, blah." He's like, don't worry about it. I got $80 million in my bank account. I'm set. Mm-hmm. And he only played another 3 or 4 years after that statement. But so think about that. Dak Prescott is going to make almost that amount in 1 year, $75 million, just to put that in perspective. Not to mention a catastrophically large, an NFL history-breaking milestone of a signing bonus in $66 million just to sign his name. Absolutely crazy.
Here comes the money.
That's right. Here it comes. You got to get it. Here it is. Yeah, Dak Prescott. He's got it coming, baby. There it is. There it is. Look at that. Break it down here in Dillon, too. He's got $40 million
on average per year.
Per year.
Yep.
And then that's what? $2.5 million
per game played. Per game played.
All right.
And then he's got the $41,667 per minute,
and then
$694 per second.
Per second. That is crazy. Imagine making $694 per second.
It would be amazing to make that right now. Sitting here, every second that goes by, I'm making $700. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. It's again like, where do I sign up? But there you go. I mean, and I know you talked about it with me. The reaction of Cowboy fans out there. How do you feel about this? I know I talked to a few, and they kind of expected this. It's funny how up and down this seesaw is. By the way, that's all numbers from Bleacher Report also as well. But you hear all the reaction from this, and I've heard some Cowboys fans who, like I said, the seesaw to where they like him, but then all of a sudden he makes the mistakes, then they don't like him. He's not worth the money. They got the deal, and then now they're like, all right, good, we're set. Now we just got to get some O-line in the corners, and we're going to Super Bowl again.
And that's the thing, is this kind of a crazy large contract. That's exactly what Jerry Jones is saying to us. You just lock down your quarterback, and I understand you need to maintain your quarterback. Don't get me wrong, Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. However, Jerry Jones believes with this kind of a contract that he is the quarterback to take them to the promised land when it's all said and done. With giving them this money, they're saying that Dak is going to take them to the Super Bowl and win it. That's what it's all about, is winning. So you're not giving this kind of money to a quarterback or any other player, for that matter, if you don't think they're going to help you get there and win the big game.
Absolutely. We have our buddy Mike Tackett is in the house with us tonight.
What's going on, Mike?
There he goes. Happy hump day, guys. Happy hump day to you, Mike. It's a pleasure seeing you out here with us again. It's been a long time. He says Dak has 66 million reasons to be happy. Yes, absolutely today. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And definitely, because you weren't sure how it was going to go down. Because a lot of people feared with this ankle injury, the foot injury that he had, what are you going to get out of him? So maybe there are some question marks. He's saying he's been working hard, too. It was inspired by Alex Smith, getting out there, getting into the weight room and getting things, physical fitness done and getting back to normal. So hopefully he can perform the way he does. What if he can't, though? I mean, that's a major problem here, and you invested this money into it.
Right.
But that's where the Cowboys were kind of in this situation. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, so you might as well buy in. Yeah. And, right now, you got him pretty much at the rate you're going to get him. Because if you tagged him again and then waited out maybe to next year, and then maybe the salary cap goes up because of we're coming out of this COVID thing. It's lower now.
The revenue goes up.
Exactly. So then you're going to get hit with a bigger one. So, I mean, it's tough. So they had to bite the bullet. They're getting it done. But this is one thing to watch with the Cowboys now here, because look at the big money contracts that they have stacked on top of each other now. Now, like you were saying before, they've got to be in like a win mode right now. Basically, that's it. You're all or nothing. By you signing this deal right here with him, saying, all right, that's it. We do believe in you. You are going to get us to where we are. Because if we're not, we're going to be pretty sore in the pocket after this pretty badly. You know what I'm saying?
Here's the other crazy part, too, is they're not ready to win right now.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yes, they got a lot of pieces. Don't get me wrong. Michael Gallup may be a free agent. He might be walking into free agency, and that would leave him one less receiving option. They have some of the pieces in place. Now, what's the number one thing the Cowboys have been known for throughout the years? A hog of an offensive line. Where right now they're weak at.
They're depleted right now.
They need a nice youthful injection of talent at that position across the board. They need to infuse that offensive line with a lot of young talented guys, whether it be from free agency, because listen, free agency or the draft, there's plenty of players to go to these teams to help them out. The free agency depth at offensive line is ridiculous right now. Because of COVID, because of lowering that cap amount now to $182 million officially. Now that's what the cap is set for this season. That's coming down from $195 million last year, dropping all the way to $182 million. That's a steep hill to fall down from financially, and now teams are strapped some teams, a lot of teams, maybe even half the league right now are trying to get down and get some extra cash flow. So you see a lot of cuts. You see a couple of trades just to relieve the cap number, to relieve those contracts, to help those teams prepare for free agency, what looks like one of the craziest free agencies we've ever seen. Because of those high contracts, because of dumping all that money away and releasing all these players, the pool for free agency is absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely. And what a segue right into the next thing we're going to cover here, Joe. Definitely. It has been pretty intense. And you think about, they negotiated this up a little bit because they said the cap was going to be set at like $175 million, and then they negotiated to bring it up to 182.5 or so, I think it is, right? So there you go. They got a little extra play, but it's still a major problem. And there are still a handful of teams that were so far over the cap right now, they are struggling. So you're seeing these guys hit the market when they probably shouldn't be. For sure. And so there are guys that got tagged, and some of them, it seems like it makes sense, but then others, I think that some people are scratching some heads on some. As for the Saints, Marcus Williams is safety here. You made a bunch of cuts here and there, but he's the guy that you end up tagging, So what are you going to do with Lattimore? What are you going to handle with some of these guys? I know Cam Jordan and those guys are trying to rework contracts to try and save some money there. What's Drew Brees? Is he really stepping away? What's going on? I'm sure he feels like he wants to play still, but his contract, even though he reworked it a little bit, is still looming on this team. And you brought up before we got on the air, Taysom Hill, even a guy that's making $11 million or so as your backup, who's like your Swiss Army knife that you throw in there and still plays more than a traditional backup. But what are you investing in when you have him here? Do you still need to sign Jameis Winston, another backup here?
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing: is the Saints have expressed interest in re-signing Jameis Winston as like an insurance policy, obviously because of the uncertainty with Drew Brees. Is he staying? Is he going? What's he doing? And they've done this year to year for the last several years with Drew Brees, putting him on hold, waiting to like training camp to see if he makes a decision to come back or not. But this season, this offseason for the Saints is really hard for them financially. Currently, according to overthecap.com, they are right now $31 million over the cap. They used to be like 53. Now it looks like they got to trim down. They just cut Emmanuel Sanders. They cut Quan Alexander, the linebacker, to save another $13 million. They made a few cuts here and there, and they still got a ways to go.
Yeah.
Because they only got down to 31. They still got a ways to go.
Absolutely.
If Drew Brees happens to, let's just say, retire. Now, whenever a player retires, it doesn't mean, you just wipe the contract clean and that's good, because there's guarantees built into that contract. The team still has to pay the player those guarantees. So that still does go against the cap regardless. Now, the base salaries, they kind of go away. But I'm going to take a look real quick right here. Everybody knows like Michael Thomas is making an astronomical amount for the Saints, but they can't really do anything with him. The only thing is restructuring. That's really all it comes down to right now. Is that they cut their punter, like really Thomas Morstead. He only made $2 million. That's not going to cut it down that dramatically. They got rid of Jared Cook. That's another $2 million. Like, these aren't big money guys. I understand what they're trying to do, but it's very small amounts that you're getting rid of. What you need to do is right now talk to Teron Armstead, talk to Michael Thomas, talk to, like you said, Cameron Jordan, another big money guy. Marcus Williams just got tagged, and that's like, for one season, he's going to make at least $12 million. So that just brings the cap number back up again. So it's like,
Yep. Saints so far on it for safety positions around roughly $11 million right now.
Yeah. So unless you're going to dramatically restructure a whole bunch of deals that you just did, like Alvin Kamara, you know what I mean? Drew Brees, even. Let me find Drew Brees right quick.
There's a few out there that are suffering for some of these, but.
So as of right now, Drew Brees' base salary is $11.1 million. Not a lot.
No, not
right?
a lot.
Not that bad
so far. Yeah.
But when you go to bonuses, he's got a prorated bonus right now of $21 million prorated bonus last year for 2020.
Right, but it doesn't count towards the cap there. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to shove in bonus money for them all, and then still just leave stuff off the cap. And that's why the restructures are like, well, you'll still get your money, but we're going to put it in the form of bonuses here.
Yeah,
and
so
that's the way they have to do it.
Yep.
And that leaves a lot of guys out here because let's go through the list quick of some of the guys. Sorry, here that just that got tagged for the Panthers. Taylor Moton got tagged. The Bears, Allen Robinson, which was a really important one here. We heard that was going to happen for them, and Chicago's a really interesting thing. We'll get to them in just a second. Justin Simmons for the Broncos. The Jaguars got Cam Robinson. Marcus Williams, we're talking about. Leonard Williams for the Giants. A double dose of tag here for Leonard Williams here, back to back. So that could be interesting moving forward next year, or if they do work out a deal this year during the season, which is expected they will. All right, Marcus May here for the Jets, a free safety, and that was kind of even a head scratcher, I think, for the Jets. But Chris Godwin, wide receiver, Tampa Bay, makes sense. Absolutely. I know you had discussed it with somebody about Shaq Barrett maybe getting tagged. Who was going to get it? Was it him or Godwin? And Brandon Scherf from the Washington football team. Those are your guys that have tagged so far. So there's some interesting setups here for some paydays for some guys. But I think looking at the Bears situation, I know they wanted to really hang on to him because Allen Robinson, if he hit the market, there was guys looking for this guy all over the place, I think. Just because he had showed he'd gone to a team that really didn't play the best, was half the season with one quarterback, half the season with another, basically, and it's going in and out, and he still performed. Over 1,000 yards receiving, still getting it done.
Yeah, he had like 1,200.
He hasn't really had a great quarterback, I think, in his career so far.
And
so
with no great quarterback, he's putting up those numbers.
Absolutely. So, I mean, for him to hang on to it, now it makes me think they truly are in that sweepstakes for the Russell Wilson deal here.
Yeah.
Or perhaps Deshaun Watson.
I mean, the thing is with Allen Robinson, he's very good wide receiver, definitely a true number one, and Chicago just simply didn't want to let him go. I mean, he's too big part. He's too much a huge part of this offense, and because of that, if they lost him, they have no replacement for him. Like, yeah, they could go into free agency too and say, hey, let's talk to Juju, let's talk to Kenny Gallaudet, but they're not. They're bringing in a guy fresh from free agency. He's got to learn the playbook again. He's got to develop chemistry again with the quarterback. Too much can change there. So Allen Robinson, already embedded into this offense, has great chemistry with Mitch Trubisky. It gets open, like he catches everything. He's just phenomenal. So they're like, we're not going to entertain that. We're going to tag him again. We're going to keep him. We're still going to keep working on a long-term deal because, honestly, after this year, he'll definitely be a free agent if he can't get the deal done. And another big thing is like you were alluding to is Chicago's been tied to Russell Wilson. Chicago's been tied to possibly diving right into the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. And from what it sounds like right now, currently, is there are some murmurings in league circles right now that are saying that Chicago is not only interested in both quarterbacks, but they are going to prepare offers and divvy them out for the Seattle Seahawks and the Houston Texans, and what is known as a boatload of picks is what is being reported. So they are going to push all the chips to the middle of the table. They are going all in, and they think if they add one of these quarterbacks, now don't get me wrong, they're both great players, but they're betting if they add one of these pieces to be their quarterback for this upcoming season, that is going to change the dynamic of this team and catapult them into the Super Bowl conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that could be part of it. And why not? Even, too, with the defense that you had, yes, they probably haven't been as successful as they were when Khalil Mack previously got there. I know they had a different defensive coordinator there as well, though, too. So, but I think at times they did show some signs of being a great defense last year, but they need to even stay healthy in spots. You see a difference when Akeem Hicks is in the mix, and then it's just Khalil Mack's got to handle more of the double teams, and he can't get through the quarterback as much as easily.
Yeah. I mean, but the one thing about the Chicago Bears defense is they're super deep. I mean, you look at them, the whole secondary is stacked.
Oh, yeah.
The linebackers are stacked. Roquan Smith. I mean, the D-line, even their backups are good players.
Right.
Like, it's incredible how good they are now. You brought up the point about their D coordinator that they used to have is no longer there, and that hurts them because you can see that. As much talent as they have on that side of the ball, they are not yet to get back to what they once were. So they're still a good defense. Don't get us wrong here. They're still a good defense, still solid. Now, on offense, if they can keep these pieces that they already have there, they had to add one of these quarterbacks, whether it be Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson. Watch out for the Bears now. Because their offensive line is good, not great, but it's good. And just recently that they decided to move on from Bobby Massey, the tackle. So it'll be interesting to see who they're going to replace him with because there's a lot of options.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So this is interesting. The guys that got tagged here, and then now that opens up a huge hole for the free agents now. Again, like you said, it's kind of wild, the guys that are out there, because, again, you have to lay your tag on somebody. That means somebody else is out. And to save this money, to cut it, that means you got to kind of make a split decision here. You're kind of on the fence about somebody. Now you kind of just got to buy in and say, all right, he probably isn't going to be what we need him to be. Or right now at this point, he is just making too much right now for what we do. I know as a Giants fan, you see Zeitler's out there. They just traded for him a few years back. Right. Now he's getting a little longer in the teeth and, making that, 12, 13 million here. They got to shed that a little bit and try to find somebody else maybe.
And that could be stemmed also from the tagging of Leonard Williams, because now the money's got to come from somewhere to keep that cushion and make up for it. Exactly.
Absolutely. Then you see Dalvin Tomlinson there. They say make a decision. You got a few D tackles that the Giants like to grab all the time. You got to let somebody go. And I know Dexter Lawrence, they're good. They still like him and what he's been doing. So keep him around. He's younger, and there you go.
Right.
So a lot of these teams making those decisions, but it's interesting. We looked at a couple top 10 lists here of the free agents, top 10 free agents out there, and they're a little different. I've looked at one over here from Bleacher Report, or was that Pro Football Focus? Joe looked at another one.
NFLTradeRumors.com.
Yeah, and they're pretty interesting to see who guys out there. So what's one of the guys out there here now, Joe? Let's cover some of the top free agents out here. And by the way, if there's a free agent out here that you expect or you hope that your team will sign, let us know out there in the comments. Absolutely. Who do you think your team should go after? Who's one of those guys out there you want to see?
Yeah, definitely. So according to NFLTradeRumors.com, they have the number one ranked free agent as Trent Williams, believe it or not, the offensive tackle from the 49ers. Used to be former Washington football team.
Yeah.
Trent Williams, great tackle, but, I mean, at the age of 33, don't get me wrong, I think he's a good player, but I don't think he's going to be worth big, huge money. Like, he's still, definitely a good player, but we know that he has injury history issues before, so you got to kind of take that all into spec when you're thinking about signing a guy like this. I think he'll get another 1-year deal. Probably re-sign.
That's all he's pretty much good for.
He'll probably re-sign with the Niners.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, when you talk of number one free agents out there, that's why I think it's kind of interesting. When you talk about some guy that's like a Trent Williams, older, he's already a tried true guy. He's out there. But you're not going to overpay for somebody like this.
No,
you know what I mean?
No.
That's what I mean. You got to say, listen, buddy, we know where you are in your career. We are a team that's built to win now. Will you come and help us get there?
Right. Another guy on the list is Kenny Gallaudet, wide receiver from the Detroit Lions. Was out this previous season, didn't really play at all, and a very talented young wide receiver prospect for someone that is looking for the receiving help. Maybe think about the Jets. Maybe think about, Washington football team. There's a lot of teams that are always looking for receiving help, whether it be a starter or someone to rotate in. But Kenny Galladay is a name to watch out for. I'm curious, at the prime age of 27, coming off of an injury, I think he's going to gain a lot of interest, but I'm curious to find out how much money our team's going to be offering a guy like this who's coming off of an injury. Yes, he's kind of still in his prime, good receiver. What kind of a contract do you give a guy like that?
Right.
And
maybe, who knows? It's one of those seasons that you're not sure.
And that's the thing.
So they just throw it at them. You're like, here you go. This is what we want because we need you right now, and this is what we can do.
Because of that low floor or that low ceiling of the salary cap, is it going to be like just a one-year prove-it deal now? Because I notice a lot of teams doing that now, like especially for guys that are coming off injuries.
Right.
1 year prove it. Can you stay healthy? Can you contribute? Can you be productive? And if you can, then maybe we'll have another conversation of having a contract longer term the following season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you said it basically right there. I mean, there's a lot of teams that would like him. As a Giants fan, I would love to have him over there too as well. But it's his decision too as well. Is it money? Is it fit? Does he want to go more of a contender? Does he want to be something like that? I mean, a lot of the contenders that are out there now already have a lot of wide receivers that are all set.
We got one of our know-it-alls right here. Chris Simpson just chimed in.
Simpson's in the house. All right, excellent. What's up?
What's going on, Chris? He says he needs to come to New York.
There you go. The Jets or the Giants, either way. Right?
Yeah, he's probably talking about Kenny Gallaudet, right?
Yeah,
or is he...
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean...
Jets, Giants, I think both teams could use them. The Jets definitely need weapons over there. They need to show you that's what they need because they don't have the depth there anymore. And you saw what happened when Robbie Anderson went to the Panthers, and that they had something like that, but they just didn't utilize them right. He says the Giants here, absolutely.
Gotcha.
Anybody that knows me knows that I am not a big Sterling Shepard fan.
Here we go.
So I'd be happy to see Sterling
receiver.
Shepard gone. And I would love Kenny Gallaudet over there, especially if he might be injured or whatever. I've been doing that yearly, so that's fine. And you want to talk about some of the free agents out there, not to jump ahead of some people, but Hunter Henry, sure, come on aboard too, buddy. Bring them all in. I don't care. That's because I think Daniel Jones needs some of these weapons here, and when you need to be on the field to have that type of connection with your quarterback, that's why I think Slayton did so well with Daniel Jones because they had more playing time together. So, see, he loves Shepard. A lot of people do. Maybe it's just me though. But
it is just you because he's your most productive
have a
receiver.
Sense of things though. Yes, no, I understand that,
and he does a great job.
Sure when he's out there on occasion.
Yeah.
He goes, maybe even Corey Davis. I don't agree with that one either. I know Zach Walker, who is a big Giants fan. He loves Corey Davis to the Giants too. What do you think about that one, Joe?
I mean, Corey Davis. I mean, here's the thing, okay, and this is what always kind of troubles me in any offseason, right? Is you have a guy on his last year of his contract, all of a sudden has a boom year, just production through the roof compared to his previous seasons with whatever team it is.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, great, he looked amazing. Let's go get this guy. You bring him in, you sign him to a 4 or 5 year deal, long-term deal. And it's like, where was the guy that we saw last season? What happened to him? That's what has to scare teams too. Is when you sign a guy like that, when he has one big boom year in that last year of his contract. What kind of a guy are you getting? Are you getting the guy that's going to continue working hard and bettering himself every single year and being the best he can be, or are you being a guy like who's, hey, look what I did last year. Pay me the money. Okay, now that I got it, I'm good.
Yeah. That's what you're always afraid of with some of these guys.
So so you got to find out, and that's why I think it's harder than anything. Is we can't have that across the table conversation anymore. Now everything's virtual, talk on the phone, video chat, whatever. So I think that also when teams were allowed to bring guys in and look them right in the eye and say, what about this? What about that? What are you feeling about this? You know what I mean? When they could really get a feel for emotionally what their kind of what their mindset is. So now that we don't have that,
I mean, for me though,
tougher.
again, it's like the thing is like everybody likes Sterling Shepard. It's still in my eyes, he's still a number 2. I'm looking for a number 1, and I need him because right now he's in the number 1 spot. I guess Golden Tate would have been, but that he's just basically going to be all right.
Slayton's not the number 1.
Not technically, I don't think so.
Really?
I mean, he maybe should have been, but he still hasn't shown that he's ready, though.
He's outside.
What I mean?
He's playing
right.
number 1.
No, I hear you, though, but it had to have been Sterling Shepard, and it can't be.
No, he was
so
number 2.
I think he's got to be down further. And if you get Corey Davis, he is just nothing but a number 2. He can never be a number 1.
Yeah,
so
but that's already been proven.
So there you go. I mean, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that step up. So if you put somebody with him, and then you say you keep Sterling Shepard, and then have Slayton there, I'm on board with that. I can get down with that. All right, now Chris, what does he say here? He goes, Giants don't have a number one. That's a problem. Exactly. There you go. I agree with you there. So there we go. We made some.
So what did he say before that?
He goes, if I had it my way, I'd sign a free agent edge rusher and draft Waddle or Pitts. And I think that's a great idea too. You find that edge rusher in the free agents that are out there, which there's a bunch of good ones out there. So we'll go through that list too. Who are you expecting there too? Out of the free agents, edge rushers, who would you want? Who would you want out of these guys? You can have the pick of anyone. Who would you want? And Waller or Pitts, yep, wide receivers here in the draft. That sounds like a great idea. And I think the Giants really need to address the offensive line still.
Oh, they absolutely have to. I mean, especially now
it's sad after 10 years after being so terrible or whatever, they're still trying to address the offensive line. So Chris, he must be a Giants fan. He knows what we're dealing with.
Yeah, right. And then you also look at Kevin Zeitler. Now he gets cut. That develops another hole for the offensive line. It's starting to look like Swiss cheese. The only thing that they got going for them is Thomas at the left tackle position. So. But, just like any other team, they just got to further develop that offensive line, and they can do it this year. They can do it as soon as this year. This year, you have a ton of available offensive linemen in free agency. You got a ton and a very deep talent pool for offensive line in the draft. So if you don't fix or try to fix your offensive line this year, then there's no hope for you.
Then Gettleman's probably gone. So there you go.
It's got to be, right?
Cut it, our best lineman. That's what they said. Here he goes, 10-year rebuild.
That is correct.
Yeah, see, there we go. Exactly. He knows what we're talking about.
All right, so another, just going to jump into another.
Yeah, sure, why not? Let's rock and roll.
We got Will Fuller, actually, which is an interesting one. Guy that's very injury-plagued type of receiver for the Texans. However, when he's healthy and he's on the field, he's a very, very dynamic receiver. Now, the thing is a team that brings him in, this has got 1-year contract written all over him. Like, you can't trust him long-term. It's got to be very short-term, prove-it deal, 1 year, not for a lot of money because of his injury history. So, you know what I mean? It's got to be like $8 to $10 million, I think, is what he'll be asking for, which I think is reasonable. So that'll be something to watch for. Another guy who just recently got cut from the Patriots, actually, is the guard, the all-pro guard, Joe Thuney. So, hey, Giants, see? Just saying, like, if you want to bring in a guy like Joe Thuney, you can do that.
I don't know. We also got Nate Solder because the Patriots cut him, too, and look what happened. So,
but Joe Thuney's an all-pro. Come on. He's proven.
I know. That's a different situation there.
And then you just talk about edge rushers. Go ahead. No,
I was just saying, it's to touch on the Will Fuller thing. I totally agree with you there, too, as well. He's kind of on the fence. So this is what's interesting during this free agency period. What are teams going to do? Are they going to just throw it out there like, well, we got to bank on this now or whatever, let's just do it? Or do we just rather have the question mark and use a pick on one of these guys that are rookies and say maybe we hit on one of these guys? So that's the thing I think to follow with these wide receivers that are injury prone. Where are they going to land as far as the edge rushers or other true like linemen that have been there?
And those guys.
One thing about Thuney, quick. He hasn't missed a game, I think, in 5 seasons or something like that.
Which is incredible.
Consecutive. So not injured at all. So.
And not to mention, he's not that old. He's 28 years old. So, I mean, he's still kind of like late prime, I guess you consider him. So, still good player. I don't think he's going to break the bank wherever he signs. So, it'll be interesting to see where all these guys go. But you brought up edge rushers, and here we go. Here's a run of them.
Yeah.
I'm just going to list off 3 of them right now. Yannick Ngakoue, Shaquille Barrett, and Jadeveon Clowney. Yannick Ngakoue, really good player.
Baby, a triple.
26 years old from Baltimore. Now, here's the craziest thing is Yannick Ngakoue got traded twice last season, okay? Minnesota Vikings traded him. Baltimore Ravens obtained him. And now they're letting him walk to free agency. Now, what I think is happening with Ngakoue is he was very impressive with Minnesota. Then I think because they couldn't agree to a long-term deal, they're like, let's move on, let's trade him. Goes to Baltimore and disappears. Just flat out disappears. He had 3 sacks with Baltimore, but the production wasn't there like it once was. And I think it's because they tried to force him to be a 3-4 linebacker. It just wasn't working. So if you're a 4-3 defense out there or a team that plays 4-3, Yannick Ngakoue could be a nice pass rusher for you to bring in, and he's still 26 years old.
Absolutely.
Shaq Barrett, a big name. Now, Tampa Bay is still going to try to re-sign him before we get to free agency. So we'll have to wait and see if they can get a deal done. But if he is available, man, oh, man, I mean, depth galore for free agency. I mean, if you're looking for a star-studded pass rusher, Shaq Barrett is the guy to go after. Very proven guy, 28 years old, still got a lot left in the tank. Why not go ahead and grab that guy if he's available? Jadeveon Clowney, I am very confused by this. How is he rated 7th on NFLTradeRumors.com? Because Jadeveon Clowney had how many sacks last year? Oh, yeah, none. He had none. 0 sacks. Don't get me wrong. I think Jadeveon Clowney is good against the run. He creates pressure consistently. But where's my sacks? Why am I going to bring you in as a pass rusher if you can't get me sacks? You can't put the quarterback down. 28 years old, one of the biggest busts in NFL draft history because this guy was taken at the number 1 overall spot. Everybody thought this guy was going to be the next coming of like whatever.
Like with Chase Young, we kind of see, I think, in a sense.
Exactly. So it's like Clowney, very disappointing. Goodbye. Just don't touch him. Leave him alone.
Brother, this guy stinks.
Chris says Clowney is nothing but a run stopper. There you go. So that's
exactly.
Too,
he does create pressure. Don't get me wrong, but he doesn't get those sacks that you need to bring the quarterback down.
Right, and he's kind of shown that he's more of a complimentary guy. I think he's not going to be that for that guy. Like I said, when you drafted him number 1 overall, you're saying this is going to be our stud guy, our Aaron Donald or so on this team, and Aaron Donald was drafted lower than number 1 overall. And look what you got. And you don't get that out of Clowney.
And another player that loves TikTok, loves to do dances before games, Juju Smith-Schuster, at the prime age of only 24 years old. The Steelers are willing to let him walk because of all his antics, and he's going to be interesting to see because this past year, in his contract year, mind you, he underperformed.
Absolutely.
Had some drops, still had a good season.
Yep.
I mean, numbers-wise, still had a good season, but he dropped some critical balls when it mattered the most. And if you're looking for a number 1 receiver, I'm not so sure Juju is the answer.
Exactly, and when they relied on the big ball, when it came down to it, you saw that Chase Claypool was kind of the guy that Ben Roethlisberger
as a
chose
rookie
to hit deep as a rookie. That's right, with the system. So, one thing, Pittsburgh always bringing in. They know how to hit. I think on these wide receivers, they're always on there and they do their homework on that. But again, are the teams going to look into his antics on the sides like that, showing up to to the away team and going into the middle of their field and dancing on the emblem and things like that.
For sure.
Kind of poking the bear on some of these teams and not really throwing out the production like he should have been. I mean, when you looked at, say, Ocho Cinco back in the day, good old Chad Johnson, he was still performing when he was doing a lot of those gold jacket things and the touchdown dances that people didn't like about it. Juju's not there. In his mind he is, but he's not there. So there you go. Let's not forget, Chris says, let's not forget Antonio Brown is a free agent as well.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen? Is he going to take a Brady deal again? Is the Brady going to bring the Brady Bunch back together? Is that what's going to happen?
I mean, here's the thing: is Antonio Brown has burnt so many bridges beforehand, and teams outside of those organizations looking in, they're like, no, we're not going to touch this guy. So I think the only team, wherever Brady went, now we know it's Tampa. We knew that Brady was going to reach out to AB and try to bring him in, and he did. Do I think that AB obviously is going to try to, make the most money he possibly can? It's going to be his last contract, I would think, very last contract, if he signed at all. But I think in the end, he's going to return back to Brady. Not going to make a ton of money, but he's going to make some change, and he'll return back to Tampa and try to make another run.
It's the story of a man named Brady.
There you go, the Brady Bunch getting back together. And why not? Because they already just won a chip now and won the championship.
Yeah, now we got that out of the way, right?
Yeah,
he's got a ring. He's got another ring. And
yeah, that reminds me, just to get off topic real quick.
All right, what do we got?
LaShawn McCoy throws it out there and says, I'm a 2-time champion. I've got the stats. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Yay or nay? I say no.
No.
And his 2 champions he got, one was last year, a year before last, with the Chiefs when he kind of backdoored into there and rode their belt buckle.
Coattails.
And the coattails, yes. And now Tampa Bay, which he didn't see a whole lot of playing time as well. So how can you say I have 2 championships?
No,
which
sorry.
is true. It is true. He's not lying.
Sorry, McCoy.
But he is nowhere near the explosive back that he was back with the Philadelphia Eagles. It seems like he left that situation, and he hasn't been the same guy since.
I mean, the one thing I'll say is, like, when he did have time in Buffalo with the Buffalo Bills, he did still play pretty well there.
I get you there, too.
But then he kind of faded after that. And now you're seeing a guy who's kind of holding on to football and not wanting to let go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I don't know. It popped in my head quick.
So,
Sorry.
real quick, I want to touch back on Juju. He's only 24 years old. So a lot of teams might look at it as some of those antics, maybe they might be able to curb him because of immaturity, because he's so young. Some teams, maybe it'll be a wake-up call to Juju. Maybe he got the message now. Steelers have no interest in you because of what you were doing. Now maybe he's going to straighten up, maybe. We'll see. But nonetheless, very young talent. Somebody's going to sign him. Someone's going to bring him in to be their number one, and we'll see if he can, get better.
Perhaps. He can only go up for him, I guess.
He can only go up from here, right?
Yeah, well, absolutely. So, all right, what else? There's some interesting
real quick,
out there,
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones, yeah.
Aaron Jones, running back out of Green Bay. Hello? I'm a little confused here, Green Bay.
Yeah.
Why did you just let this guy kind of walk out without a fight, it seems like? Aaron Jones, very dynamic running back, catch out of the backfield, very quick, shifty, made guys miss, break tackles, does it all. They draft A.J. Dillon this past season, or past draft, and they just fell in love with A.J. Dillon. They love the powerhouse, the guy who has speed for such a big man, knocks people over like a bowling ball, hitting pins, and they just kind of fell in love with that. And now they're like, hey, he's way cheaper. He's on his rookie deal. We don't have to pay big bucks to Aaron Jones. Let's let Aaron Jones go. But here's the thing, is you're missing an element to the running game now. You don't have that electric, explosive, guy that's hard to tackle in the open field. A.J. Dillon's not hard to tackle. You just take his legs out.
Right.
I mean,
the guy you've been searching for so long. I mean, look at what they did.
Right.
They used to have a wide receiver play into the running back position
Ty
to
Montgomery.
find a running back.
Yeah.
They found their guy.
That was terrible.
He is so connected at the hip with Aaron Rodgers right now, and you pull that apart right now, that is not a good idea. I don't know if it's all just Matt LaFleur's idea again. He just loves this and thinks that whatever his scheme is, everybody's going to fit right into it.
Right.
It could come back to bite him. The interesting thing is with this, and you heard talks about Miami interested really hot and heavy. Now it seems like they're interested in some other running backs out there. So what's Miami really doing? Because they even have a Gibson out there, right? Right? And no, not Gibson. I can't remember his name. But they have running backs there. They have there, but why are they interested in these guys, or is it just a smokescreen out there for something else?
I mean, for the Dolphins, this is kind of like a weird offseason for Miami. I mean, they've been rumored to maybe be trading away Tua to get Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson or something like that. Now that those rumors have subsided a little bit, now they're thinking about, we need to get a running back, we need to get a receiver. Listen, they need receiver, okay? They are picking third, I believe, in the draft. Third overall. Take Jamar Chase. Take Jamar Chase. It should not be hard. The only other pick that it could be is to help protect Tua and draft Penei Sewell. That's it. Those should be the only two options if you're staying at 3. Now, if they want to maybe trade back a little bit, and they still might be able to get a different player, but maybe Devontae Smith or something like that, a comparable receiver. But that's it. For me, if I'm Miami, those are my 2 picks. That's all I'm going to decide between. And if someone comes calling and wants to offer me a boatload of picks or a nice package deal, maybe I'll take it.
Yeah, it's Myles Gaskin I was thinking about, who played well, I thought, last year, who played well. And then so it looks like maybe they found something in that.
Yeah.
They had Matt Breida there, too, as well. And we're not
never
sure
played.
Never played. So, I mean, they maybe they're looking for somebody to do like a 2-back tandem back there. It's interesting for them. And then moving on and cutting Kyle Van Noy, I think is interesting for them because again, was it just a New England Patriots thing because he played well and elevated in the playoffs for the Patriots, but then he goes to Miami, same scheme, should be okay there. Almost should have been like their team captain in a sense, on defense.
He was.
Yeah, to help them out along with the system. And now you say goodbye after a year.
Well, that right there was a salary move. I mean, he was making too much money. He didn't want to keep paying him, and that's it. So that's the thing that's going to happen with a lot of these teams that you're seeing with the cuts. Another player is Anthony Harris in free agency, the Minnesota Vikings safety that was highly sought after the past offseason. The Minnesota Vikings franchise tag him, bring him back for another year. Now he's up yet again, and it looks like he's going into free agency. But Anthony Harris, he had a down year last year, so maybe the Vikings might be able to pull off a signing with him because of that down year, because they still believe in him, because maybe teams are like, I don't know if we're that interested anymore.
Right. Yeah, it's different moving forward. Some of these guys have been there, showed that they could play at an upper level, but then even last year, it was an anomaly of a year, though, too. So, I mean, were they really taking a tick back here? Was it just the year, the way it is? It's tough, though. Again, what are they going to shell out for these guys?
Yeah, and I mean, there's a few other players that I'm just going to rattle off, and then maybe we just pick one to talk about. You got all you know-it-alls out there. Make sure, like, if we're missing a free agent that you want us to talk about, go ahead and just enter in the comments below. And we'll talk about them.
Again, your team. Who are you looking for them to get maybe in free agency?
Or maybe just where you think some of these players are going to end up with some of these teams that are still looking. Real quick, John Johnson, kind of a shocker for me that he didn't get tagged from the Rams. Is another safety, one of the better safeties. He's only 25 years old, in his prime, and has already made a name for himself. So he's going to be a safety highly sought after for teams that are in need of another safety to add. Hunter Henry, like Jim just brought up, a tight end at 26 years old who is not only a good receiver, but he also can block for your team. So that's a rarity to find. Giants, like you were just saying, Giants would make all the sense in the world. When's the last time that they've had a dynamic tight end? Evan Ingram is nice. He's got some speed, but where are the hands? He doesn't have hands. So here's a guy that's going to make the catches in Hunter Henry. Shaq Griffin, cornerback for the Seattle Seahawks. That's an interesting name. He's going to be out. He's only 26 as well. So anybody in need of a corner
out there too as well. Yeah, I think that's a good spot.
And another one too. Another corner who's only 27 is William Jackson III for the Bengals. Very gifted corner as well. So as you can see, the list is crazy with full of talent. Chris Simpson, he already said AB. Jonnu Smith, the tight end from the Tennessee Titans. What?
Yeah.
Why did you?
Yeah,
didn't
what's
want to
going
sign
on there?
him?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
And he had
again,
his best year this past season.
Yeah, they were waiting for it because I remember when they had Delaney Walker there, he had looked at Jonnu Smith and said, I see kind of myself in this guy. He could be me, moving forward.
Right.
And it took a little time, but then looks like he had the good year, and they walk away. So what are their plans here? Are they going to draft somebody, or are they looking at Hunter Henry maybe, to pull in and out of there? I don't know. But again,
I mean,
it's not like he was making a ton of money as a cap casualty there for him. So what's the game plan here for Tennessee?
It's crazy. So I mean, another guy, Corey Linsley, I'm kind of surprised about, the All-Pro center for Green Bay. He ends up getting cut. He's still 30 years old. He's not even like in his mid-30s yet. So All-Pro center. Anybody need help a center? This is the guy to get. Hi, Atlanta Falcons. You need a center. There's the guy.
There
so
you go.
think
true.
about that. Another one, and this is what's kind of confusing me, is the Steelers, right?
Yeah.
Their offensive linemen are going to free agency. Who's going to help protect Big Ben right now? If everyone keeps saying that he's coming back this year.
Yeah.
It's not etched in stone, though.
Right.
But now he's down a third offensive lineman. Happens to be his left tackle, Elijah Villanueva. Big mountain of a guy, 6'8" mountain left tackle that they have. He's going to free agency. So maybe other teams are going to pick off some of these guys, and Steelers are going to be left with maybe trying to find second-rate offensive linemen, or even have to draft at that point.
Yeah, and even if you look at the injury issues that Big Ben has had, You got Dwayne Haskins there that they grabbed, and hopefully that they can mold into their next quarterback here. Again, dumped by Washington, had some antics kind of too, or some things, disagreements with the team, we'll say. We're not really antics.
No, he just wanted out of that organization.
Disagreement with the team here and there, doesn't think he was treated fairly and this and that, whatever. So he's out, gets a new start in Pittsburgh. Again, Big Ben could be coming back maybe this season. Is he going to help groom him? I don't know. I don't think Big Ben's really that type of guy. But
well, no, not in this stage of his career.
No. And you'll get to see him probably this season because of the injury fact. And who's going to protect him? Is he going to be in a better situation, looking at that moving forward? As far as the Pittsburgh Steelers altogether, I think offensively in their scheme they need to change and need to get something together with the running game. I think they didn't use Benny Snell enough last year. It's like they went away from it, and even though he was successful when he was out there, but they just wanted to we got to go 20% runs no matter what. So, and that's what they do.
You might get your wish, though. Yeah. Because James Conner's a free agent.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
that's who the other running back it was that they had said that Miami was interested
in, yeah. And that's the thing, but why?
No, I'm trying to figure it out.
Anyway, there's other guys. You look at Leonard Floyd, who really isn't that good. He's kind of an average player. He's been around the block. He just recently was with the Rams, originally from the Chicago Bears. Hasn't really done much. So whatever. Carl Lawson, kind of like an underrated D-end out there with the Bengals last season. Was originally with the Buffalo Bills. He's only 26 years old. There's definitely, you can see a lot of talent, a lot of additions that any team could make and make their team better. Chris Carson, by the way, is a free agent.
That's right.
They did not tag him. 26-year-old running back and a hard runner. Seattle Seahawks, they better jump on that. Hope that they can sign him before free agency starts. Guys like Curtis Samuel, a wide receiver from the Panthers. He kind of made a name for himself this year, 25 years old. You can see that there's a lot of, guys that are still young, guys that are still very young, and still can give a lot to another team, whether it be the team that they're currently with or they move on to someone else.
Yeah, if you bring out some of those guys here that, we'll say Hassan Reddick here, he stepped up when Chandler Jones was out, when it seemed like the defense was looking for somebody else to do something. He has the best season of his career, and now he's a free agent out there. So, again, it's questions by some of these teams. What am I going to get out of him? Is he going to be that nice complimentary guy I can have here as another edge rusher, that's, not unproven, but maybe he's finally hitting his stride there where he needs to be.
Yeah,
was it scheme? That's one thing too with some of these guys. When you draft these guys, it's where some of the problems
do they
are.
Fit?
When they pick them, are they going to fit? We've seen it happen with the Eagles back in the day. A lot of you guys don't remember some of this, but when they had Vince Young and then they got Nnamdi Asomugha, on defense.
They signed a bunch of free agents
that year. A team
that
played zone defense, and Nnamdi was a lockdown man-to-man
guy,
and
didn't work out.
So. That's one thing to watch out. You might want somebody for your team, but is he a right fit for your team as well?
Absolutely. And the other interesting thing, too, is Mike Davis, the backup running back for the Panthers. Yeah. He's a free agent. And we saw what he could do when he was given the ball. So, Atlanta Falcons, maybe they're not thinking too much of Todd Gurley right now. Maybe they move on and inter-division. These, when you're in your division, you love to pull talent away from the opponent, right? So that's an idea. Maybe Mike Davis moves over to Atlanta and ends up being their starting tailback.
All right, Cowboys pull talent away from the Giants. Go ahead, take Evan Ingram.
That's it. We'll give them to you.
That's right.
But yeah, the list goes on, and we can't conclude this little segment here without talking about my man Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh yeah,
my man.
That's right, Ryan Fitzmagic, baby. He still wants to play. He wants to play, wants to be the backup. I say go after him. Any team that needs a backup, he is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
And look at that beard. How could you
and
not?
He goes to show you that if you need a guy that when your starter goes down, he can perform. That's when he performs the best.
I'm happy when I'm playing.
Yeah, and that's what he does. So, if you're one of those teams that, again, not sure if your guy's going to stick around or whatever, even if you're a younger guy, because he will help out, too, as well. If a younger guy, he'll help groom him. He was there for Tua, is there for plenty of guys to help them further their career. Really smart, and who knows? Maybe Philadelphia grabs him underneath the Jalen Hurts. I don't know. Maybe he goes back to the Jets under Sam Darnold.
Right.
Because, again, if Darnold ain't cutting it again, you weren't able to trade him away or anything for something. Fitzpatrick could either help him or you just put Fitzpatrick in, and then now you know your deal, and Darnold's on his way out. And there you go. And Fitzpatrick will help you until you get the next guy.
Yeah, one other free agent that I want to bring up is Trey Hendrickson, a guy that's not really been talked about this year until late. A guy that has double-digit sacks, a guy that's not spoken of outside of the New Orleans Saints.
Mm-hmm.
He just wasn't.
He was
a guy
one of the underrated players.
Very
I named
impactful.
This year. Yeah.
26 years old, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so if you're looking for a DN that can not only rush the passer, but also can play well against the run, this guy can do it everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
And,
so it's loaded.
it's just loaded. It's just freaking loaded. We just picked out
we did.
several of them. But if you go on at no matter what site you use, NFLTradeRumors.com, ProFootballFocus.com, go and take a look at the amount and the the value of talent out there in free agency.
Yeah, definitely. And it's going to get pretty crazy. When's the tampering period? I think is March 15th.
March 15th
right?
is that 2-day window of
starts.
legal tampering,
And then
so
17th, right?
So contracts can be negotiated and verbally agreed upon, but then March 17th is when they officially can sign.
All right, yeah. So I mean, it's going to get pretty crazy in the next week. So we hope that you guys will join us and we can talk about a lot of this some more. It's going to be getting hot and heavy here. Some of these guys that have gotten tagged, they're going to get their deal done, and some guys that are still going to be there. They're still talks. They're still talking and working something out. So just because they haven't got tagged yet doesn't mean that they're going to be gone right now. But it's
not
going to be
looking
close
good.
though for some of these guys.
But on the other side of the coin there too is guys that have been recently franchise tagged. Some teams use it as a strategy. They don't, like Allen Robinson. They don't want to let him go or walk and get nothing. Mm-hmm. So they're going to work on a deal. Now, say they can't get a deal done by training camp. Mm-hmm. Maybe instead of just losing him after that next season, maybe you start considering trade options.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and then he's playing on the tag. So yeah, so then the other team makes up for that too as well. So yeah, I mean it's a good idea for them.
I love it,
and
I love it. Football,
who knows?
baby.
Maybe the Deshaun Watson trade goes down. Maybe Russell Wilson somewhere else. That would flip the football world upside down and then change everything again.
And that's the thing. Well, watch out for
and
Chicago.
We're gonna be doing that, and I think maybe next week we'll see how things go. But I think we've done this before. By the way, this is starting our 4th year or 5th year now. Can't remember.
After when we hit training camp, we will starting our fifth year,
and then we will probably go take a look at some of these guys before training camp. We're going to take a look at the last 4 teams that finished last year, and we're going to see the moves that maybe they make in free agency. Maybe they can turn this ship around, or what it takes to turn them around, and what they can do. How about that? That sounds like a good.
Not to mention. Keep a lookout on our reevaluation of the draft from 3 years ago.
Ooh, yeah,
we did that
fun.
last season. It was a lot of fun, and we got to see what team drafted well and really what team fell on their face.
Yeah, absolutely. So big news out there. Dak Prescott gets paid here. And,
snap it, baby. Snap it.
We're going to go. Here we go. We got to put him to the music. Ready?
There you go. Here comes the money.
Here comes the money. Money.
Oh, yeah. Look at him. He's got the moves, Joe.
There you go.
All right. Yeah, there you go. There's Dak Prescott. He gets paid. Cowboys rejoice. All right, that's it for us. Don't forget to like the video, post some more comments out there. Go to our YouTube page and subscribe to us there.
Yeah, definitely.
Hit the subscribe button. What else, Joe?
Also, I just want to say that thank you guys for making this show possible. We do this for you guys. We do it a little bit.
Definitely
for
don't
us.
do it for money, so it's got to be for you guys.
No, we definitely don't get paid doing this. We just have a hell of a time doing it. We love joking around with you guys
and meeting all you guys, man. We know
Absolutely.
everybody all around the world.
We got some new.
Awesome.
We got some new members this week.
Absolutely.
So thank you, know-it-alls, for joining.
You guys, absolutely.
And make sure if you know anybody that loves football like us, want to talk with us, let's share some ideas, some different perspectives. Maybe you have a team that we don't have yet in our circle here. So you might bring some different, opinions, a different insight to it. Feel free. Have them join right up. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Football on the Know Show. You can also follow us on Facebook and become a know-it-all. We are also on Twitter, everybody. at FB_know. You can follow us there as well.
All right, thanks a lot. We will see you guys next week.